Howdy, folks. I'm Nice Nest, neatly nestled in a narrow nook.
I'm Amber.
And here are more narrow nooks for us to nestle ourselves in. It's just like home sweet home of Reddit. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my coworker she also has thin hair? I'm a 25-year-old female, and I work at a very small startup company. By very small, I mean there are only 5 employees in total, including myself. Because of the small size, getting along with my coworkers has been easy. We've all grown up really close since we see each other every day, and we even go out to bars all together after work. Now for the story. Last week, I wore my hair in 2 braids to work. I wanted to try a new style, and I felt really cute in them. When I arrived, my coworker Annie, a 27-year-old female, fake name, looked at me and said, "Wow, I never realized how thin your hair is." When she said the comment, I wasn't hurt or offended. I've always had thin hair. It's just how I was born. I replied back smiling, saying, "Yeah, you too, twins." Her reaction after I made the comment completely took me by surprise and shocked me because she immediately said, "Go to hell." I was confused because Annie also has thin hair. Since then, she's proceeded to ignore me for the rest of the shift. Fast forward to today, Annie still is completely ignoring me and avoiding me and has been trying to get the rest of the office to turn against me. Because we're such a small team, my coworkers have been filling me in on what she's saying about me behind my back. I even learned that once our boss returns from vacation, she plans to report me for workplace bullying. My coworkers aren't taking sides, and I'm not asking them to because the issue is between me and Annie. However, one of them approached me today advising me to apologize, but I'm not sure if I should. I don't feel bad for anything I did, so that is why I turned this into the forum to see if I'm the jerk. I'm looking for advice on whether I should apologize or if there's a better way to handle this. For people who want an update, my boss doesn't come back until this Friday. If a meeting does happen, I will share. Otherwise, I assume that Thursday, tomorrow, will go the same as the rest of this week, where Annie just continues to ignore me. Thanks all for the advice. I really appreciate it. To answer some frequently asked questions, yes, I have tried speaking to Annie on more than one occasion and to discuss the issue, but she's turned me down 5 times. She has told me that she doesn't feel comfortable talking to me without our boss present. Yes, I did contact my boss. We are a small company, so he is our HR, CEO, etc. I told him about the situation once I found out she was going to report me for workplace bullying. I only sent the one text message on Microsoft Teams. He told us, in the case of emergencies, to use his personal message, but to me, the situation doesn't classify as an emergency and can be handled when he gets back. I know he's on vacation, and bothering him multiple times while he's away isn't something that I want to do. Yes, I do have thin hair. I don't know about fine hair. I've never been told. In my life, I think 2 or 3 times I've been told by a hairstylist that I have thin hair. I don't have much hair on my head, but like I said, it's always something that I've had. My entire mom's side of the family has it too. I always found the beauty in it because it reminds me of my grandma, since I have the same color hair and type as her when I look back at photos of her. Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, it very clearly was not meant to be in a mean-spirited way, and the coworker started first. It wasn't like OAP came out of nowhere and was like, "Oh yeah, you have thin hair," like the coworker did. Like, the only person who was rude was the coworker, and then OP, being unoffended, it was just like, "Oh yeah, we're twinning."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't think that OP did anything wrong. This wasn't out of malice. If they were like trying to return the insult or something like that, maybe you could say that everyone was in the wrong here, but still the coworker initiated this and
Yeah.
made the comment first, and so now wants to claim that OP is the one who's being a bully. It just kind of shows her true colors here. She was saying it to be mean. OP was saying it as sincere, as a sincere thing, right? So I don't know that she's going to win in this whole bullying matter, because if I were to listen to OP's side of the story here, I would say, well, what's her problem?
Well, and it usually does not work out well for the person who started it. Like, again, this wasn't OP coming out of the blue and being like, "You have thin hair."
Yeah. Like, even, I mean, I might even see it being a little bit more on OP's being in the wrong, but I don't think that OP would be in the wrong in this situation. If OP had come in with her hair and was like, "Oh, hey, I love my thin hair and you have thin hair too," or something like that. I don't know. I don't even know how you would get to that point, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it's just like, when it was, if it was completely unsolicited or something. But again, the coworker kind of opened the door to this conversation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Cash in My Parents' Lotto Ticket? Update, thank you all so much for the feedback. I'm so glad I didn't move forward with this. I'm sad by their actions, but admittedly, I'm not surprised. My parents won the lottery to the tune of $60,000, but they owe back taxes. So they asked me to turn in the tickets for validation. I received the check under my name and deposit the funds into my account or cash the check. They have multiple children between them, but they don't trust anyone else when it comes to money. I've always been financially independent, and I know that money is a big deal, but I just don't make it one. I grew up poor, so I'm happy to be comfortable. I initially agreed to this, but after doing more research, I decided against it, due to the tax implications. They're frustrated with me, because now they may lose quite a bit of money, but it doesn't feel right. Am I the jerk for refusing to cash in their tickets? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. Do not put yourself on the hook for and help your parents evade their legal responsibilities. Like, they chose not to pay their taxes, they can deal with the consequences.
Well, I mean, I think that's really what this boils down to. And I guess in the comments, OP is talking about the whole tax situation. And I guess the parents are expecting OP to pay the taxes out of pocket and not out of the, jackpot here. So if if they wanted to make this fair, they should just say, oh, you can claim the money and pay the taxes on it, right? Because you're allowed to give away a lotto ticket, right? Like this, I don't think there are any laws against giving away a lotto ticket, right? But there might be if you were trying to avoid taxes, but I don't know. I mean, you should consult a lawyer if you're in a financial situation like this, right?
Yeah.
Always consult a financial advice lawyer type person. But I wouldn't imagine that there were any laws against giving a lotto ticket away. A possession is a possession. Although, possessions over $10,000 or $12,000 or something like that in the U.S. still are, still need to be taxed. So there's still some kind of tax situation involved there. Now, as for the parents here, I think that they are just trying to avoid taxes, which I don't understand. They won $60,000. Why not just pay off their back taxes with that $60,000? Like, is it really going to change the situation all that much for them? Like, and then they'll no longer owe these taxes, and poof, it's a good situation. They should just be looking at this as a windfall and saying, oh, now we can pay off those taxes that we owe. So I don't know. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Going to the Funeral of My Ex's Father? I'm gay, so leave now rather than getting upset later if that upsets you. I'm a 25-year-old male, and I used to date a bi guy when we were 17 to 22. I was very close with his parents. My parents weren't as accepting. When we broke up, I didn't remain in contact with him, but did stay in touch with his mom and dad. His dad passed away recently, and last week I went to his funeral. I paid my respects to the whole family. I hugged my ex's mother and his sister, and then I just gave a handshake to my ex and his brothers. I didn't spend any extra time with my ex than a normal handshake, and all I said was sorry. I sat down, waiting for the ceremony. That's not the right word. A woman in front of me got up and sat beside me. She knew me and introduced herself. She was my ex's girlfriend. She said that it was very weird that I would come here. She said trying to get with a grieving guy is messy. I said I have no interest in him. His dad and mom were good to me growing up. She said that she literally saw me flirting with him up there. I didn't. She said that people don't go to their ex's father's funeral. His mom invited me to the gathering after the funeral, but I refused, as I just felt that it would be best to leave. My ex did come over that night. He just hung out for a bit. Nothing happened. It was mostly just talking about his dad. He said, "You caused so much hassle today." I said, "How?" He said his girlfriend is on a rampage. I said I was sorry about that, and he said it was okay. He said it's her issue. Am I the jerk for going to the funeral of my ex's father? Like, is this something that people shouldn't do? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, you were close to his father. This isn't something about the ex. There's a time and place. Like, it's not always wrong to support an ex. But in particular, OP was there to support the mom, it sounds like, and to pay tribute to a man he saw as a father.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to, remember someone who was very important to you and to be there for their family.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what this boils down to. Opie didn't have any intention to make a mess here. She read the worst possible intentions. Now, if he had gotten up there and, like, literally tried flirting with him, right, that would be one thing. But she's just reading into the situation what she wants to see, right?
What a flirty handshake you got there.
Yeah, what a very flirty handshake, a firm handshake. That's isn't it? Don't you know that's exactly how people flirt? That's why people all shake hands all the time is just to flirt. I don't know. Um, again, at the end of the day, I think that this is like he said, like the ex said, this is her issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And OP didn't cause this issue, she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe this is something that he's going to have to reconsider because it sounds like she is a very jealous individual, especially if just showing up to a ceremony and giving a handshake to somebody is enough for her to be like, you're cheating on me, or somebody is trying to cheat on you, or someone is trying to steal you away. Very insecure. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for forcing my girlfriend to either eat stale snacks or go and buy fresh ones herself? My girlfriend Janice lives with me on my acreage just outside the city. The closest convenience store is about 15-minute drive, and the closest grocery store is about a half hour away. Janice is 27 and employed as a teacher. She has a university education. I'm just stating this so it's clear that she's a functioning adult. Janice cannot understand food. Not at all. Like, if we get takeout, she understands it needs to go into the fridge if we don't finish it. But she can't understand why I put it in a Tupperware instead of the containers from the restaurant. She understands that bread needs to go back in the plastic bag, but not why the bag should be closed afterwards. Most annoyingly, she cannot grasp why nachos and potato chips go stale if you leave the bag open. Like, all you need to do is fold the top of the bag underneath to keep the air out, and the chips will stay fresh longer. She just leaves the bag open to the atmosphere and then wonders why they've gone stale. With her being a teacher, I even did an experiment for her. I bought and opened 2 bags of chips. One we left open to the atmosphere, and the other I folded under, like I said. 2 days later, I had her try both bags. I swear, she couldn't understand why the store would sell us chips that were almost stale. Like, she just couldn't understand why it happened. So I no longer stock up on chips when I go to the grocery store. I just buy enough for our needs for the week. Usually I buy a bunch if they are on sale so that we can have some as snacks. So now if she leaves the bag open and the chips go stale, she has to drive and get more. She even started buying her own chips because I'm being a jerk and forcing her to eat stale chips. She had people over this last weekend and she put out multiple chips with multiple bags open, but they stayed mostly uneaten. She thinks that I am a jerk for just not stocking multiple bags of chips, which she'll waste. Am I being the jerk here for not catering to her wastefulness? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, I'm wondering if there's like a Bill Nye the Science Guy episode around this or something that, could be shown to her. Like, it is not okay to just keep repeatedly wasting food. I understand that she doesn't get it, but like, it's not an excuse, and like OP is not required to keep stocking an infinite quantity of snacks just so she can keep wasting them.
Yeah, I mean, I have a really hard time with the situation in the respect that I don't think that OP did anything wrong. If anything, I think that they are trying to be a patient partner who is, trying to illustrate why the chips are going bad. And as like many of the comments pointed out, there are some people who are very intelligent and very smart in some ways and just completely dense in other ways, right? So, the judgment about her, intelligence and whether she's capable of being a teacher or anything like that, I just don't think is like even something that we can evaluate from this. But I do think that she definitely has an issue understanding like what is going on here. And maybe if OP can find a video or like some kind of explanation on why chips go stale, that might help her out. And also, she might be interested in knowing that the reason why chips don't go stale a lot of times when they are packaged from the store is because a lot of times they actually store them in nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open the bags, you're letting all the nitrogen out, and now the oxygen and the humidity and everything else can intermingle with the chips. So that's why chips can stay fresh, when they're unopened for a very long time. But when you open them, they start to go bad, or not go bad, but start to go stale sooner, right? And she might just not understand that the moisture in the air is actually part of what seeps into the chips here and causes them to get softer, right? So if OP can actually explain to her the scientific reasons why chips go stale, then she might actually start to click, right? But it sounds like OP was like, oh, here's an experiment. And I'm hoping that she actually tried the chips before the experiment started. So they open them up, try a chip from each bag to be like, look, they're both fresh chips, and then running the experiment.
Well, it
right?
seems like her thought though is that like clearly one was closer to expiring, so it doesn't matter if they're both fine beforehand. One is just secretly close. But the thing is too, like, did he point out the expiration dates? Because if they have the same expiration or best used by date,
Yeah.
then that should in theory disprove. But I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully this is something that they can just work through. I don't think that OP is being mean. I think OP is being reasonable. If she isn't going to close the bags of chips, if she isn't going to seal them off, then they're going to go bad, and then she's not going to have chips. And I think that OP just needs to phrase it that way. We can't waste money on chips just because you don't understand how to close bags of chips, right?
Well, and he could say, like, even if you don't understand why this happens, can you just try it my way or something like that? Like, instead of trying to, like, teach her the science, if that's not getting through, just be like, can you just humor me? Can we do things my way?
Yeah. And if she doesn't, then don't buy her more chips to ruin. I don't know what to say. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What kind of nails do carpenters hate hammering?
Probably fingernails, I would
Yeah.
imagine so. I would imagine that would cause a great deal of discomfort.
Yes.
And I have some Earl Grey. Some Earl Grey. And folks, I actually have something on my desk. I have a Mobius strip that I created from junk mail. So, yes, sometimes during meetings or something, I'll be fiddling around with a little piece of paper, and I was like, oh, I made a little Mobius strip. So, yes, you can too.
Yeah, so it's junk mail Mobius strip day.
So, junk mail Mobius strip day. Go find yourself some junk mail, make it into a Mobius strip, and, yeah. What's so special about a Mobius strip? If you don't know what a Mobius strip is, it's a object that only has one side. So if we were to actually go ahead and trace this with a pen, we'll start with the words here. You can see the words are if you can see, I guess you can't really see, but basically the words continue on here, and then as we go up and around, you can still see them up here. And then if we trace this all the way back around. Keep tracing, and we're right back at the words again. So it's pretty amazing. So if we just keep tracing, it has only one side. It's pretty amazing. I probably didn't do a very good job of illustrating it to you, but you'll just have to take my word for it. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Sunday, folks. And you know what makes it special? You do, and Amber does too.
And Brian does too.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on bags of chips.
Whether or not you understand why it works, just make sure to close the chips over when you're done.
Yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.